Hello and welcome back. December finally feels real. The kind of cold where the air bites first and the day wakes up slow. I've been waiting for a morning like this, frosty, still, and perfect for giving the tree its moment. And this is my favorite December ritual. Slow, simple, and a little bit magical. This weekend is a little special. I'm hosting some of my friends for dinner. A tiny pre Christmas catch up before everyone disappears into work parties, home travels, and the last minute chaos. So, today is all about warmth, good food, and good company. The things that make winter feel a little less wintry. So come along with me as I pull everything together the cooking, the prepping, the decorating, and all the little moments that make hosting feel extra special. Before moving on to the table decor, I began prepping some of the dishes. Last time I hosted, everybody loved the butter chicken and naan. So this time I'm doing a little fusion menu with loads of Indian touches. After the eggs went on to boil, I got the second pot ready for pasta. I like getting these little tasks out of the way early. It makes the whole evening feel so much smoother. This is my little way of keeping things organized. If you have any hosting hacks, drop them in the comments. Also, tell me what you are planning for December. I would love to hear it. For the table decor, I had these Christmas themed tea light holders and wanted to turn them into a little centerpiece. To give them some height, I used a few thermocol blocks, cut them to the size I wanted, and placed the candle holders on top. Then I laid in old Christmas tree branches, some decorative bits, and a few pine cones to hide the thermocol completely. And if you have access to real branches or fresh flowers, definitely add them. They give such a divine aroma and makes everything look so much richer. I also added a few fresh rosemary sprigs from the garden at the end, just to bring in that lovely earthy aroma. Fireworks and Christmas lights. I placed this winter spiced berry diffuser on the crockery unit. Knowing this corner will see a lot of action tonight. Warm lights, soft music, and lots of laughter. Little touches like this with cozy aromas and glowing light really set the mood and make the space feel alive with love and festive magic. If you're enjoying this content so far, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and stay tuned. There is plenty of easy hosting and festive recipe inspiration coming your way. The pasta and eggs were ready, and I popped the eggs straight into ice cold water. Honestly, if you have ever struggled with peeling eggshells just like how I used to, this little trick is a game changer. Plunging hot eggs into ice cold water makes the shells come off so easily without fail. Next, it was time to get started on the dessert. I was planning to make caramel cheesecake this evening. First, I lined this round tin with baking paper to make sure it doesn't stick. Then I grabbed 2 packs of Biscoff biscuits and used few whole biscuits to line the edges of the tin, stacking them in a circle to create a little frame for our cheesecake. Next, I'm going to grind few biscuits in a blender along with some melted butter until they are nice and smooth. Once the biscuits are blended into fine crumb, I poured them into the tin and used a spoon to flatten them evenly. For the cheesecake filling, I'm using 2 packs of 200-gram cream cheese. I added a quarter cup of caster sugar and beat it all together with a hand beater until smooth and creamy. Next, soaked about 9 grams of gelatin sheets in cold milk to let them bloom. While that's softening, I took some fresh cream and mixed a little caramel sauce, then beat it together until it was nice and fluffy. Once the gelatin has softened, I pop it in microwave for 5 to 10 seconds to melt it completely. Then I mix the melted gelatin into the cream cheese and caramel mixture, folding everything together gently so it's smooth and well combined.
Out on the open road, same old place you always used to go.
Once the filling is ready, I pour it over the prepared Biscoff base, smooth it out, and refrigerate it for 1 to 2 hours to set before adding the top layer.
Remember when you told me that I should take it slow, but I can't stay when the world is waiting.
For the next little personal touch, I am making some festive ice cubes to jazz up our drinks. I filled the tray with water and added cranberries, rosemary, and a few mint leaves, perfect for that warm Christmassy vibe. You can even use pomegranate or strawberries instead of cranberries. They add such a lovely seasonal touch to any drink.
This time I'm not looking back, babe. You can't change me.
Now it was time to prep the dough for some Christmassy cheesy garlic buns. I started with 4 grams of dried yeast, mixing it into 30 grams of sugar and 160 ml of cold milk. Let it sit until the yeast starts bubbling. Once it's ready, I added 200 grams, which is around 1.5 cup of all-purpose flour, 4 grams of salt, and 25 grams of melted unsalted butter. Next, kneaded it all together using the stand mixer, but you can totally do this by hand too. And once it's smooth, covered it with a thin plastic foam and let it rest in a warm spot for 30 minutes to an hour.
The sea is calm and I know we've been through a lot, but just wait. Wait for better.
While the dough was resting, I moved to the dining area to start setting up the table. Then I started the table setup with the placement mats and plates. And this time I went with golden cutlery to match the Christmas theme.
In front of us if we just hold on tight. This vision that I saw is getting closer every dawn.
I also added some festive paper napkins in the holder and then these cloth napkins, red with cheerful Christmassy checks, folded into a leaf-like shape with a napkin ring. It's amazing how these little touches instantly make a space feel warm, inviting, and cozy. Nothing fancy, just playing with the few pieces you already have. And suddenly, the table feels like it's ready to welcome friends, laughter, and a little holiday magic.
Wait for our home to show on the horizon, soon we'll be there.
After about an hour, the base layer of the cheesecake was set in the fridge. So I topped it with some melted caramel sauce, covered it, and placed it back to chill for another 4 to 5 hours while I worked on some other dishes. Next up was homemade hummus with some Christmassy twist. I used boiled chickpeas that had been soaked overnight and blended them with some homemade tahini, lemon juice, 4 to 5 garlic cloves, some cumin powder, olive oil, a pinch of salt, and about 8 to 9 ice cubes.
Hey, do you remember 20-something years ago? Those cold nights in December and the sound of the fall.
The ice cubes are key. They make the hummus so light, fluffy, and creamy. Look at that. This was exactly what I was talking about. I plated the hummus on a round plate as I wanted to give it the shape of a Christmas wreath. Then I placed a small bowl in the center, spread the hummus evenly around it, and then removed the bowl.
A pair of jeans and a dusty shirt. We didn't have a dime. No, you and me were
To finish, I garnished it with a drizzle of olive oil, a sprinkle of cumin and chili powder, finely chopped coriander, and some cherry tomatoes to give it that perfect green and red festive vibe. It came out so vibrant and festive. Let me know, what do you think?
me playing the fender and you singing, oh, it's alright. Beating hearts full of lust, shiny stars
For the boiled eggs from this morning, I cut them in half, removed the yolks in a separate bowl, and flattened the base slightly so they sit perfectly on the plate.
Have we got our lines crossed?
I mix the yolks with yogurt mint chutney. You can add mayonnaise if you like, some chopped coriander, and basic spices like red chili, cumin, chaat masala, and black salt.
Fix things that weren't broken, misunderstandings and words unspoken.
To add a festive touch, I arranged the eggs around some cherry tomatoes in the center and topped them with pomegranate seeds and a little extra coriander, giving them a cheerful Christmas color and making the regular deviled eggs shine instantly.
Or maybe I'm not enough for you, so maybe I should go. If I had known from the start, this wouldn't have ended with broken hearts. 'Cause I don't wanna waste my
Meanwhile, the dough for the cheesy stuffed garlic buns had almost doubled in size. I cut it into small pieces, shaped them into buns, covered them, and let them rest for another 10 to 15 minutes.
If we don't feel the same way, then
While the dough was resting, I got the pasta ready. Sauteed chopped garlic and veggies in olive oil, added some frozen corn, seasonings, mixed herbs, and cooked everything together. Then added red pasta sauce and loaded it with mozzarella cheese.
see what you have in front of you. Or maybe I'm not enough for you, so maybe I should go. If I had known from the start.
I placed the pasta in an oven-proof dish and topped it with even more cheese. I will pop it in the oven later so it's nice and hot when we serve it.
May you always find your way to higher ground. May you always keep your head held up.
Back to the buns, the dough was ready to bake. I stuffed each bun with cubes of mozzarella and arranged them on a baking tray in shape of a Christmas tree. In total, I made 13 to 14 small buns using 200 grams of all-purpose flour, so you can scale up if you're hosting a bigger party. Finally, I brushed them with cold milk and placed them in the oven at 180 degrees Celsius for 10 minutes. Just enough for them to turn golden and perfect before brushing the garlic butter.
Shining from within, I can tell that you're tough.
The table was finally ready. I placed a cheese board and added a variety of crackers, a hearty pasta dish, the deviled eggs, and at the center, the festive hummus wreath, adding a pop of color and a cheerful holiday touch, making the spread look inviting and ready for guests. The buns were almost done and I brushed them with garlic butter and sprinkled with dried parsley and placed it back in the oven for 12 minutes. I also marinated some chicken thighs and roasted them in the Ninja Crispy. The buns were ready and it looked absolutely divine, golden, garlicky, and stuffed with cheese. Now it was time to add the little touches, the glowing candles, the sparkling berry drinks with festive ice cubes, carefully folded napkins, and the pops of red and green from the garnishes made the table feel instantly warm and cozy and inviting. The chicken was also roasted to perfection and I served it with some fresh salad on the side. Just as it was time to place the cheesecake on the cake stand, tragedy struck. The cheesecake slipped from my hand while taking it out from the fridge, heartbreaking as it was. However, the show must go on. And that's a wrap. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, comment with your thoughts, and subscribe for more. Bye bye, take care. I will see you in the next one.